security guard George delivered a freshly dead body to the morgue. As he turned around, the corpse suddenly sat up straight. Hearing the noise, George turned back, his scalp tingling with fear. He saw the body bag moving the next second, leaving George utterly bewildered. He thought the person wasn't completely dead yet, so he cautiously unzipped the body bag. The corpse looked unmistakably dead, yet George still leaned in closer to take a look. At that moment, on his first day working at the funeral home, George encountered a resurrected corpse, and he immediately ran to the duty room to call for help. When George checked the surveillance footage, he saw that the body had disappeared from the morgue. The next second, the corpse appeared in the hallway, flickering like a ghost and floating towards the duty room. George then heard a woman's crying close to his ear. He opened the curtains to look down the hallway but saw nothing. Just as he began to relax, suddenly, George was utterly terrified. Meanwhile, in a secret room, a few people were watching the screen, laughing. It turned out they were deliberately pranking George, but their laughter quickly faded as they saw George suddenly pull out a handgun from his bag, ready to perform an exorcism. Their faces instantly changed, and they rushed to inform Ayako, who was pretending to be a ghost. But Ayako wasn't wearing her earpiece and couldn't hear the warning. George, gun in hand, walked out of the duty room. Ayako was at that moment preparing to scare George, completely unaware of the impending danger. Seeing the potential for disaster, Emma quickly ran to stop it. Ayako leaned against the corner of the corridor as she waited for George to take the bait. The filming crew hid in the shadows, secretly recording. As George approached, gun in hand, tragedy was imminent. Seeing the gun in George's hand, Ayako instantly lost her nerve to scream. Fortunately, Emma arrived just in time to prevent the tragedy, pointing to the camera to inform George it was all just a prank show. Then producer Marcus came out from behind George with the cameraman. George still tried to maintain his composure. At this point, there was a large wet patch on George's pants, and the cameraman excitedly zoomed in on it. George could only smile and say it was nothing. Although the prank show became a sensation online, it pursued views with no regard for boundaries. Emma felt that such recklessness would eventually lead to a fatal incident, but Marcus didn't agree.
Come on, we all know the best pranks are the ones that go a little bit off script.
Marcus persuaded Emma to film one last episode, promising that once he became a top producer, he would stop making prank shows. Unable to resist Marcus's persistent coaxing, Emma reluctantly agreed. Little did they know that this final episode would lead to the complete destruction of the entire team. Soon after, the prank show resumed filming, and the team chose an abandoned mental hospital as the recording location. The eerie setting was perfect for a haunted show. Emma played the role of a nurse in the mental hospital. Once everything was ready, the target of the prank, Rohan, arrived at the mental hospital as seen on the surveillance screen. Emma and Abby, who played the ghost, quietly slipped out from a side door. Abby sneaks past Rohan when he's not looking. Emma, having prepared herself emotionally, then approached Rohan to greet him. Strangely, Rohan didn't respond to Emma but instead mumbled some particularly strange things to himself. Emma was a bit startled upon hearing this and asked Rohan how he knew those things.
I planted them.
Rohan's behavior left Emma bewildered. Given that this was once a mental hospital, Emma feared Rohan might be mentally ill. Rohan smiled and said he used to work there. Hearing this, Emma instantly let down her guard and proceeded to explain the job position they were hiring for. Just then, Rohan suddenly saw the ghost on the window ledge, his eyes widening in fear. Emma pretended to be unaware of anything.
Where did she go?
Who?
There's a girl. Is she a patient of yours?
There are no children here yet, shall we?
Their seamless cooperation successfully drew Rohan into the haunted script. Rohan thought he was seeing things and didn't take it seriously. After Rohan walked away, Abby sneaked off to prepare for the next prank. Emma led Rohan into the office. Rohan looks around. He looks at the pictures on the wall and suddenly his mind seems to be not working properly again. Faced with Emma's questions, Rohan didn't respond. Instead, he stood motionless in front of an old photograph.
Rowan?
This sent a chill down Emma's spine, and she got up to walk towards Rohan. At this moment, Rohan seemed to have a nervous breakdown, his mouth twitching, unable to speak. In the old photo, there was a little girl standing on the window ledge. Emma immediately realized that this was something the team had deliberately added.
Did you know that girl?
Why do you have to be so nosy?
I wasn't.
How does any of this relate to my application for the position of groundskeeper here?
Rohan's behavior unnerved Emma.
Miss Agatha speaking. I'm in the middle of an interview.
Okay, so maybe he's a little bit special.
Emma complained about why no one told her that the target of the prank had mental issues. Was this intentional or accidental? Marcus said that the more realistic it was, the more thrilling it would be. Before Emma could finish speaking, Marcus ended the call. Angrily, Emma hung up and decided to confront Marcus in person. Emma's convinced Rohan's mentally unstable. She felt like they weren't pranking Rohan, but pranking her. Marcus laughed. When Rohan was left alone in the office, the prank continued. The office door slowly opened, startling Rohan. Rohan thought it was Emma returning and called out, but there was no response. Then he heard the sounds of children playing outside in the hallway. Instead of being scared, Rohan went to investigate. Marcus monitored everything from behind the scenes. Emma arrived and questioned Marcus about why he didn't tell her the whole script.
That's the new paradigm, Em. If I told you everything, do you really think we'd be in the middle of what promises to be our masterpiece? Okay, stand by on lights.
He's confused, Marcus. He's scared.
Marcus replied that this was the genuine reaction they needed. Emma felt that playing tricks on someone with mental issues would eventually lead to trouble, but Marcus believed everything was under control. However, they were about to learn they had underestimated their target. Rohan followed the sounds down a long corridor. As he stepped in, the lights started to flicker. Eerie laughter echoed around him. These were all props prepared by the team to scare him. They didn't expect that these things wouldn't frighten Rohan. At the end of the corridor, Susie was ready with a ball. And on the other side, Abby, playing the ghost, was in position. They hid around the corner, waiting for Rohan to fall into their trap. Seeing Rohan slowly approaching, Rohan was completely terrified at this point, but instead of running away in fear, he chased directly in the direction Abby had fled. Marcus was immersed in the show's impact, but Emma was uneasy. Sensing that something bad was about to happen, Marcus instructed Abby to lead Rohan into the haunted room. Rohan followed Abby into the room. Rohan felt everything there was so familiar, as if something had indeed happened there before. Cameraman Tony was hiding behind a clothes rack. Rohan walked to the haunted window ledge, looking down at the flower bed below. As if recalling past experiences there, Marcus decided to intensify the atmosphere, increasing the fear factor. Emma watched Abby getting closer to Rohan, feeling increasingly uneasy. Suddenly, Emma noticed through another surveillance angle that Rohan was pulling something from his pocket. Her eyes quickly scanned the nearby monitors, and she noticed that the letter opener on the office desk was missing.
Put the knife down!
You don't need any changes. This has all been a prank. Please leave her alone.
Emma tries to go to the rescue, but Marcus tries to stop her. Even if she goes, she'll just die. However, Tony, who was still hiding on site, was in danger.
Quiet, Tony, don't move.
They had forgotten to turn off the speaker they had used earlier. Rohan noticed Tony hiding behind the clothes rack and immediately grabbed a tie. Tony tried to run, but his legs gave out in fear, and he fell to the ground. Rohan caught Tony and strangled him with the tie. Emma couldn't just watch someone die. While everyone's attention was on Rohan, she quickly ran out to save Tony. Rohan strangled Tony to death. Abby was also brutally stabbed multiple times and lay on the ground, barely breathing. When Emma arrived with a screwdriver, she was horrified by the scene. Tony's dead body was hung on the wall, and Emma was too scared to approach, but thinking that Abby might still be alive, Emma mustered her courage and moved forward to search. But she found Abby was not there. Emma turned and saw the broken window. She lifted the curtain and saw Abby had been thrown out and lay dead below. Emma broke down and cried, but there was no time to mourn. Next up was the fully enraged Rohan.
We're picking him up at 12.
Shit, Em.
You gotta get out of there. He's heading back. Em, you gotta move. Come on.
Hearing the warning, Emma immediately started to run. She almost ran into Rohan coming back upstairs. Fortunately, Emma escaped just in time through a side passage. Emma angrily cursed Marcus for sacrificing teammates for the sake of show ratings. Marcus explained that it was all arranged by the higher-ups. Emma demanded that Marcus tell her the truth immediately.
Okay, yes, he used to work here.
But he was also a patient, and there were certain crimes
Emma couldn't believe that the show had actually brought in a real mental patient, and worse, a murderer. Seeing Rohan closing in, Emma felt that the show was going to get her killed, so she kept running for her life. When she finally found an exit, she discovered the door was locked. At that moment, a nearby door opened, startling Emma. Seeing it was Susie, Emma quickly grabbed her to escape. Susie was still confused, not understanding what was happening. Susie looked bewildered. Marcus told Emma to stop talking nonsense. Just as Emma was about to confront Marcus, Rohan caught up to them. Caught off guard, Susie was brutally killed by Rohan with a slash to the throat. Bloodthirsty Rohan then turned his excited gaze towards Emma, eager to hunt her down. Emma held up a screwdriver for courage, but the next second, she took off running. Rohan seemed to enjoy the chase, treating Emma like prey. Emma escaped all the way to the underground CT room, but the heavy steel door in front of her couldn't be pushed open. Rohan soon caught up to Emma. Emma is like a lamb to the slaughter. Rohan turned his head to the fire axe hanging on the wall. He immediately dropped the knife and grabbed the axe. Emma watched in horror as Rohan approached her with the axe. With a burst of strength, she pushed open the heavy steel door. In the nick of time, Emma managed to lock the door, narrowly avoiding being chopped in half by Rohan. Emma and JD hid behind the door, barely daring to breathe. Outside, Rohan kept smashing the door with the axe. Luckily, the steel door was strong enough to hold, and Rohan couldn't break through. Soon, everything went quiet outside. Emma, finally calming down, breathed a sigh of relief. Emma demanded Marcus call the police immediately, but Marcus said the higher-ups needed to consult their lawyers first. Hearing this, Emma was furious. Even now, they were more concerned with avoiding legal responsibility than their safety. The next moment, karma struck as Rohan found them.
The police are on their way. No one else needs to get hurt, all right?
Ignoring Emma's pleas, Rohan gave a sinister smile and then turned off the camera. Seeing this, JD quickly grabbed Emma and urged her to run before Rohan arrived. They rushed to a truck, intending to drive away, but JD found the keys were missing. After searching frantically, he couldn't find the keys. JD remembered he had a spare key and quickly got out to retrieve it. Leaving Emma alone in the truck, Emma quickly locked all the car doors around her, holding the screwdriver, staying on high alert. The next second, Rohan, hiding in the back seat, suddenly jumped out.
Miss Agatha.
Emma seized the chance to escape, leaving Rohan pinned to the car. At this moment, a twist occurred. Rohan pulled out an earpiece and cursed at the camera. Rohan began to curse Marcus, shouting, "Wasn't that an act? I got my hand impaled." It turned out that the ultimate prank target this time was actually Emma, and everyone was in on the act. Unluckily for Rohan, his acting was too convincing, and Emma had stabbed him out of fear. Rohan demanded Marcus take him to the hospital. Marcus told Rohan to hold on a bit longer, as the show was about to reach its climax. This infuriated Rohan, who smashed the camera in anger. Poor Rohan thought his performance deserved an Oscar, but all he got was a screwdriver in his hand. He had no choice but to endure the pain and pull out the screwdriver himself. While Rohan was howling in pain, it seemed like there was a camera pointed at him from outside the car. Rohan took a closer look and saw a masked freak with a clown mask holding a camera aimed at him. The camera had a sharp spike attached to it. Before Rohan could understand what was happening, another figure wearing a clown mask appeared in the seat behind him. Rohan had no time to react. The clown instantly stabbed Rohan through the back of his head. It turns out that the masked freaks are a group of people who specialize in selling murder videos on the dark web. They infiltrated fake prank shows to film real-life murder scenes. This time, they targeted Marcus's team. Meanwhile, Marcus's team was still completely unaware. Marcus planned to persuade Rohan to continue acting, leaving Dick alone to monitor Emma's movements. Suddenly, the monitor's display became uncontrollable. Dick thought the cable was loose. As he left his seat, Emma ran back to find JD. She was surprised to see on the computer screen that Dick was still alive. When Dick realized this, he quickly turned off the video, but it was already too late. Emma found video evidence on the computer showing that Marcus and the others had rehearsed everything in advance. It turned out that the whole plan was for Emma to be the target of the prank. Emma, who knows the truth, is furious. She then started yelling at the hidden camera in the ceiling, but Emma didn't know that this camera wasn't from her team. The masked freaks team had been secretly monitoring everything, and now they began the hunt. They were ready to inflict some real harm on Marcus and his team. The masked freaks hacked into all the camera feeds Dick was monitoring, showing a masked freak holding a camera aimed at Dick on every screen. This left Dick utterly confused. He didn't notice the person standing behind him. A masked freak swiftly looped a garrote around Dick's neck from behind, tightening it. The special killing tool instantly split Dick's head in half, killing him on the spot. Indeed, real offline harm was the most genuine. The masked freaks calmly dragged away Dick's body, as if dragging a dead pig. Marcus arrived at the car. As he opened the door, Rohan's body fell out. Marcus told him to stop acting, saying the Oscars wouldn't recognize their show. As Marcus tried to help Rohan up, he noticed the gaping hole in Rohan's head. Marcus was stunned, completely at a loss for what was happening. He tried to make a phone call, but found he had no signal. A group of masked freaks then approached. Marcus had seen their videos and recognized them instantly, turning to run in fear. However, the escape route was already blocked by more masked freaks. The masked freaks didn't kill Marcus immediately but decided to toy with him a bit longer. At this moment, Emma saw Marcus running towards her. Before Marcus could speak, she punched him. Emma demanded to know why Marcus was pranking her. Marcus told Emma to forget about that and run, as the masked freaks were coming to kill them.
Don't.
Oh, I get it. Masked freaks. That's your big twist. Who is that? Is that JD, Tony? Who's that mystery man?
No.
Emma thought this was another one of Marcus's tricks to deceive her. She stepped forward to remove the masked freak's mask, but the masked freak grabbed her by the throat and pushed her down. A group of masked freaks suddenly surrounded them, and Emma finally realized something was very wrong. Just when they thought they were doomed, the masked freaks received a command and surprisingly retreated, letting Marcus and Emma leave. Without wasting any time, Marcus prepared to escape with Emma, but Emma insisted on warning the others. Little did they know that their every move was being monitored by the masked freaks. By the time they found JD, he was already dead, with a dagger-mounted camera stuck in his body. It seemed deliberately left for them to see. Marcus turned on the camera.
What's going on?
Marcus suddenly suspected there must be a mole. Otherwise, the masked freaks couldn't have known their plan so well. At that moment, the masked freaks called, instructing Marcus to go to the control room, where a surprise awaited them. When they arrived at the control room, the bloodstained chair suggested that Dick had met a grim fate as well. The control panel was hacked and completely unresponsive. Emma noticed blood dripping from Marcus's head. Looking up, they were shocked. Susie hung from the ceiling with her eyes gouged out, but the biggest shock was yet to come. A signal suddenly appeared on the screen. Tony was still hiding, ready to record the climax. Marcus tried to warn Tony of the danger, but the warning couldn't get through. Tony looked bewildered as the masked freaks approached.
Hey!
Marcus and Emma could only watch helplessly. The leader of the masked freaks called again, inviting them to play a game. They put the captured Abby into a coffin and buried her in the flower bed in the yard. The leader gave them only 5 minutes to save her. After that, Abby would be suffocated to death. Marcus and Emma ran to save her without wasting a second. Danger, however, was close behind. A masked freak sneaks up behind them, ready to ambush them and add some fun for the audience. The masked freak accidentally knocked over a wheelchair, alerting Marcus and Emma. Before they could react, the masked freak started a chainsaw. But Emma managed to stab the masked freak to death. Lifting the masked freak's mask, they discovered he was just a teenager. Marcus and Emma reached the garden bed and frantically dug to save Abby. Luckily, they pried open the coffin at the last moment, saving Abby from suffocation. The game was over. Marcus smashed the camera with a shovel, ready to get them out of there. However, they were too naive. Masked freaks surrounded them from all sides. The leader then told Emma she could choose one person to take with her, pointing to a van not far away as their escape vehicle. Without hesitation, Emma kissed Marcus, then turned and chose to take Abby, leaving Marcus behind as their plaything. Emma and Abby got into the van to escape, Still shaken, Emma looked back at the seats behind her, relieved to see no one was hiding there this time. They successfully escaped, heading to town to call for help. Meanwhile, Marcus woke up from unconsciousness. The masked freaks were preparing a special death ritual for him. Knowing he was doomed, Marcus started angrily taunting the masked freaks. He mocked the masked freaks production team as being third-rate.
Huh? So the you got? You need more than blood and cruelty if you want to be remembered. You're all attitude and imagination. Where's the craft? Where's the twist?
Halfway through his tirade, the masked freaks told Marcus to watch what a real twist looked like. That's when Marcus realized that the mole in their team was Abby all along. The masked freaks then opened a furnace, ready to push Marcus in to be cremated alive. Marcus could only accept his fate of being burned to death. Unaware of this, Emma was still driving away with Abby, seeking help. Abby has a look in her eyes that suggests there's more to come. Emma noticed a camera in the van and suddenly sensed something was wrong. It's an open ending. No one knows how the story will ultimately unfold.